To give them a moment, I'm always willing to do that because it's a bigger picture in helping people and making people feel a certain way.
You ever had a fan that like
Think about if you made people feel good, what they'll do for you. Imagine.
What's good, my people? Your boy is out driving. I wanted to take this time to just record a little bit, just try something different. For those of you who aren't aware, I have started me a YouTube channel called Souls of Thought. That's spelled S-O-L-E-S, like the soles of your shoe. I'm gonna be doing a more appropriate introduction soon to the channel. With that being said, just wanted to touch on the topic while I had the time. A lot of times in life, especially being a co-parent or a single father, we go through things that a lot of people don't see or a lot of people don't get to witness. And the reason why this came up in my thought process was, I don't know if you guys been watching Tom Brady, a man in the arena. Great show. Great, just competitiveness. But the biggest thing I noticed about Tom Brady, and a lot of people kind of skim over it, and if you don't research it a lot, Tom Brady has an older son, first name Jack, by another lady. But with that being said, Jack lives a great life. He's playing football now, if I'm not mistaken. He's had a lot of memories with his dad. He's been able to see his dad win multiple Super Bowls, and he's pretty much treated like part of the family. With that being said, I brought that up because you never hear any drama. You never hear any extracurricular activity from the mother of Jack's mother. And it just made me think, something happened. I won't say something happened to me, but something was said to me about a month or so ago, like right before Christmas break. I want to say during Thanksgiving break. That really hit me in a certain manner, and it really just brought things into perspective. For myself, I have I have dated, since I've been in this dating world, I have dated mostly women with children. Haven't really dated anyone that didn't have any kids. So most of the women who I have dated or been out with had children. With that being said, I have experienced a lot of terrible dads. And this video is not to beat down pet dads, not to beat down men, not to beat down women either. But a big thing is, I want to make this video so people can understand that, well, men can understand that if you're married, you get a divorce, or if you're dating and the mother of your child, you guys split up or whatever, do not live your life to make things right. Do not live life to prove that person wrong. Do not live life to try to make up for your wrongs. If you're a good father, you're a good man, you're going to have some form of guilt. That's normal. We all experience that. I always tell people my biggest failure in life was not making my marriage work. Even with that being said, it was still a blessing in disguise, because the damage I've done in my relationship, to me, was unfixable. At the time, my wife would have stayed. She would have stayed right by my side, even with all the things I have done. With that being said, that's not the type of living situation I want to live in. I feel like there comes a point in time where you can do so much damage that it can end up tearing you up mentally and also damaging the relationship, and it never fixes. But you guys kind of just go day to day, you kind of just living in the house, kind of cohabitating. That's not what I wanted. But I did promise myself, and at the time my daughter was 10, going on 10, and I promised myself and I promised my daughter And my son, he was an infant, so he doesn't remember any of it. But I promised my daughter that dad will always be present. Dad will always be there for those most important moments. And knock on wood, the past 7 to 8 years, I have done that. No matter where the military has placed me, I have made things happen. And I know it's only from the grace of God that these things happen. I know I didn't do them on my own. I know it's not something that I could ever do on my own. It's by the grace of God and the people that God put into my life to allow me to accomplish these things. In the midst of me thinking that I'm doing everything that I should done, I was told that I needed to do more. And it brought me to this topic. It was something that weighed on me very heavy. Actually put me in a very deep depression, I would say. Kind of started to question myself, question things that I have done. But then I sat back and thought about it like, no. I know men who live in the same city as their children, or can live 5 to 6 minutes away from their children and don't see their children. I know men who don't pay child support. I know men who haven't seen their child ever, and the woman just never asked for child support or didn't even try to find the man again, you know. And it's crazy that, especially as an African American man, we already get a bad rap and everything else. But I never thought I could do more when I felt I was doing everything I needed to do. And when I say everything I need to do, for those who don't know, it was at one point I was living in Ohio. My children are in Texas. I was catching a flight for every holiday, every event. Anytime the mother of my kids needed me or it was an emergency, you know, I was on the first thing flying out all the time, taking leave, losing leave. For people who don't know, you know, the military, you only get 2.5 days a month. And those things wear down when you're taking a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time. No notice trips, or even just putting yourself into a bind where you won't be able to rest. You literally just, you know, hopping on a plane for the weekend because your daughter has something going on or your son has something going on. And I did this for years, you know what I mean? And I was told that I needed to do more. To make that long story short, we talked about it or whatever. And we both stated our opinions. With that being said, I want women to understand that men only have one obligation. That's to take care of their children. And that can be done by the government making you pay child support, which I have paid, haven't missed the payment. Or, you know, you get in custody of your children and seeing them as much as possible. But the most important thing is giving your children time. And that's one thing I know I have never not given my children, and that's my time. With that being said, men, do not try to make up for your wrongs. Do what you can within your means. Communicate with your children, especially when they get older. Because once they get older, they're gonna see for themselves. When they're young, their parents speak for the children. But as they become older, they're gonna be able to speak for themselves. They'll be able to have conversations. Excuse me. Me and my daughter FaceTime all the time. We talk on Instagram like we don't have FaceTime. I mean, me and my daughter are pretty tight. I always tell people that's like my alter ego. I love her to death. She's a senior in high school. She's about to graduate. And our relationship is great. And she understands what daddy does for her. And it just baffles me sometimes that people don't understand what you really go through to try to display what the world would like to see. Because I'm all about co-parenting. I have no hard feelings, but one thing I learned is once you start to do things, or once you start to do things and make things that are impossible possible, people start to think that is the baseline. You know, when you once say, oh yeah, I can come up there and help you with that, this and that, people think that's what you're supposed to do every time. And that's not how life works. As I've gotten older, happiness is what pushes me. I had a great friend, Jay Rizzle, asked me one time, this year matter of fact, are you happy? And that question right there in itself was so heavy, I couldn't answer it. And I cried like a baby. And it was crazy because I would say like a few weeks later, or about a month or two later, my father, sister, brother-in-law all surprised me. I think it was like Memorial Day weekend or something like that. They surprised me, came into DC, and I was talking to my dad about it. And my dad said, you know, son, your happiness comes from God. You know, happiness is a spiritual thing. You know, you gotta have that relationship with God. And once you're happy with yourself and with God, you know that happiness will always be there. Which I really took that in. I really think that is true. But it took me a while to find my happiness. And I'm gonna tell you guys one thing: finding your happiness is a scary thing. Once you find your happiness, you're gonna learn to cut certain things off, certain people off. You're gonna not care about how people respond to you, because that's what creates happiness, right? You know, for a perfect example, it's just like Tom Brady winning Super Bowls, right? He didn't care how he won the Super Bowl. It was about winning the Super Bowl. I think sometimes in life we get so consumed with how we're winning and not that we're winning. And one thing I can say in my life is that 36 years old, I'm winning. I know I'm a great father. I'm no longer seeking that validation from people or others. I know I'm a great father. I know I do my part. I do what I can. And I move on from there. Because I'm the type of person, I think a lot. I work in mental health too. So like things for me, I look at things totally different than like the normal person. I'm a very outside the box thinking type of person. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about that. And I just wanted to leave the men with a few keys. The first thing is, man, take care of your children. Take care of your children. By any means necessary, take care of your kids. Number two, time is more important than any money you can give. Let me say that again. Time is more important than any money you can ever give. 3, be a father first. Let me say that again. Be a father first. That doesn't mean you can't date. That doesn't mean you can't go out and party. That doesn't mean that you can't go live a normal life. But just make sure that your children are a priority in your eyes. Let me clear that up. In your eyes. Because you will get a lot of women who become very jealous because you are dating and you are choosing to spend time with a woman that you think is going to be the one, and that's what you're supposed to do. But make sure that your children are a priority in your eyes. That means, you know, pick up the phone, send them a text. If they call and you miss it, call them back. Be open and honest with them. Don't be afraid to let them know you are dating someone. Let them meet who you're dating. But at the end of the day, make the children your priority in your way, not someone else's way. And last but not least, seek happiness. Because once you seek happiness, everything else is going to fall in line. A lot of times we do a lot of things because we are unhappy. But I hope this little quick message, didn't want to be on here too long. Just like I said, I'm driving home. And I just wanted to take this time to record something. But the biggest thing is just keep life into perspective. Dads be dads, fathers be fathers. Take care of your children in your way. Do the best you can. Articulate that with your children, that you're doing the best you can. And like I said, as they get older, they would develop their own relationships. So that's not something that you have to fight for. Just do what you can. And never let someone else's words take you down a notch. when you know you're doing everything you can. Other than that, your boy's out. Peace.